אוקיי, היי. מצטער על הזמן השקט הזה, רציתי לעשות איזשהו טסטינג, אבל לא כזה יצא שזה עובד. אז אני אלך בניגוד למה שאני חשבתי, ואני אשכרה אערוך את הכותרת, שיהיה למה שאני תכננתי לנסות. אז רק רגע. איזה מספר זה עכשיו? אוקיי. ואם כבר אני אכניס את זה לפה. יופי. שיניתי את הכותרת. מי שרואה את זה הפוסט. אני עשיתי את זה סימן שאלה, כי רציתי לעשות איזשהו טסטינג למשהו, אבל זה פשוט מוזר, אני לא כזה מבין איך עושים את זה, אבל whatever. אז יאללה, מי שרוצה לראות, אני עכשיו שיניתי את הכותרת מ5 סימני שאלה. אני אכנס עכשיו למשחק שאני מתכנן בעצם לשחק. שזה קצת מטומטם בשבילי, לפי השעה, אבל I don't care. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. עדיף כבר שאני אתקדם פה. פעם קודמת! לא כזה עשינו שום דבר מיוחד האמת. ליטרלי היה שעה של לרוב useless information לבינתיים. בקושי בכלל התקדמנו. In actuality, שזה כאילו מוזר. נשמע, אני אמור להישמע טוב. טסט בשבילי, לכל. כן, אוקיי. טסט עובר בהצלחה. 48 שעות עד ללומיאן לגאסי סטרים. בואו ניגש אל ה-Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band Investigation פארט 3. Let's go. מי שרוצה לדעת בנוגע לכל הנושא הזה של המסך, הוא נראה רגיל. הוא נראה אשכרה בול קופי פייסט בין הסטרימלאבס לבין מה שאני רואה במסך שלי. מי שרוצה להבין על מה אני מדבר, תסתכלו בפרקים הקודמים של Great Ace Attorney. וכן, בוא ניגש לזה. 9 בינואר, ה-SS בוריה, מיס פבלובה's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath and then gently slid back the bolt. Oh! Huh. Okay, sure, I guess. You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Oh, you both look hurt. Good. Yes! Well, finally, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we're going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a first support, though. Oh, how did that happen? There was a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. So must have thought he saw his ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming, crew are running everywhere. The first class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean Did someone press that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder! Just all in black. You are the devil. Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. What the Shakara Pavlova? You opened my traveling case. How could you? Ma? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He is a criminal. It is not enough that he killed the man, that he has killed the man. Duh! And he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Take him away. He is a trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You are devil. Doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hasanaga. Is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. This is a real crisis. We've got to find a solution. Immediately. What's that? Somehow that we shall be able to leave here. Are you fucking kidding? What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Naturally. I was analyzing what the weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. משקפיים האלה ועכשיו הטיארה מקודם? Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. No. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? This ain't obvious. To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. זה כלום. כמו שאני אמרתי בפרקים קודמים, 20,000 רובל in actuality זה לא באמת כזה הרבה. כמו שחושבים שזה. זה כן הרבה, זה בערך... זה... 700 שקל, מה לא דיברנו על זה קודם? אבל in actuality זה לא באמת כזה הרבה. משכורות של אנשים נותנים יותר כסף. I wish to determine if it would bend that concept-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. You again, the great detective. Inspector! I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Boria, has been solved. By me, naturally. Okay, sure. בוא נראה אותך. What? Really? Yes. I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I'm about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. יאללה, בוא נראה את זה עד כמה זה טיפשי עכשיו. Aha! You have solved it! Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning, when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. לא ליטרלי פעם קודמת לא ליטרלי, אשכרה ב-15 דקות האחרונות של הלייב הקודם הוכחנו שה-Locked Room Mystery היה בעצם פייק. מישהו רצה לעשות Locked Room Mystery? Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. ליטרלי זה נוצר בשביל לעשות Locked Room Mystery. זה ליטרלי נוצר בשביל שיהיה Locked Room Mystery. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. לא. לא. ליטרלי המתכות האלה שסוגרים את הדלתות הם כל כך לא נעולים במקום שבו הם פשוט מחליקים מתי שיש עצירה. ועכשיו שאני חושב על זה, אולי זה מסביר את הכאב ראש שיש לכולם. אם פתאום יש עצירה מיידית וזה עושה כזה לחץ בתאוצה, obviously יהיה לאנשים כאב ראש מתי שיש את העצירה, מתי שהם ישנים. אבל לא מישהו היה יכול להתעורר ולשמוע את זה? whatever. Yes. It's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. זה לא locked room mystery. אני בדיוק זה לא locked room ב-traditional sense. זה לא locked room ב-traditional sense. כי במקרה הזה, לכולם ב-first class, יש אופציה בעצם להפעיל את ה-locked room. Locked room. That is point. The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. הנה, כן, תודה רבה שולמס. כולם יכולים לעשות את ה-Locked Room Mystery. What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. Event. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed as you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It's not possible. זה לא מאצ'י. זה לא מאצ'י to buy it. אבל אני כן אומר שהוונט קשור בעצם לפי הדיירי. לפי הדיירי של קזומה. לפי הדיירי. Oh, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. כן. בגלל ה-1.35. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear faint whistling sounds. A faint whistling sound. 1:45 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! Ah! Ow! What the? Oh! לסטרוגנוב יש נחש. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The speckled band. A snake? Indubitably. בוא נתעלם בזה שזה אשכרה קרומן מביא איתו חיה מתי שאסור להביא חיות. Mr. Sholmes? Just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the stripped band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe a distinction. However, do you not think this is precisely the trap in which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness! Really? It's a trap? It's a trap! זה היה מלכודת כל הזמן הזה! How exactly? אומייגאד, זה קצת מוזר לדבר עם הוסנגה, ריונוסקי ושולמס. כי שלושת אלה באים מאותו בסיס. ריונוסקי הוא יותר lower pitch, שולמס הוא יותר high pitch, וריונוסקי הוא הקול הקלאסי שלי. לפחות אני משתדל את זה. I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
למה הוא זורק את פבלובה under the bus?
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts.
Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
He's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sean must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. Oh, really? Oh my god. Oh, but if I so as little movement as possible, Seaman. You won't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. The fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Oh boy, not again. חזרה לזה! ייי! Intruder's identity. אז יש משהו פה שהוא לא נכון. אז יש משהו פה בדדקשנס שהוא קרוב, אבל לא בדיוק. שזה אינטרסטינג. זה נראה בעצם קונסיסטנט על פי איך שהגימיק הזה עובד. וזה קצת בזה שיש לי logic and reasoning spectacular, ואז יש לי גם recreation של crime scenes מ-investigations. אז כן. לפחות היה לי קצת, לפחות יש לי עכשיו קצת ניסיון עם זה, ואני אמרתי טכנית שאני אעשה דאבל אפלוד, וזה מה שאני עומד לעשות. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Oh! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. זה משהו שקשור ליד. And it is that very pain that evidences your inadequacies, your inexorable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend in which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected. Another telltale glance. No doubt, your friend is the withering serpent we see us before us. Okay. אז משהו שיש לה ביד בראשון, והשני זה לא הנחש. אבל אני כן מסתכל בערך בכיוון ההוא. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observation on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. What explanation can we give, boy? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? יוצא משהו מהכיס. No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer in this inquiry even now. It'll behind your back. Yes, But you're trying, but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth's skin. אולי יש משהו מאחורי זה? Evidently, even the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours, shed its original skin, no? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side of the bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time its suit loses its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it will be found in the deepest depths of India. איפה היית באינדיה? עכשיו, how Mr. Asogi died. Okay, בוא נראה את זה. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life? And why? According to the data which have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. אוקיי, זה ממשיך עם ההנחה קודם של הנחש. אז זה כנראה ישתנה קודם. Now, if we take that as fact, אגב אומרים שלא היה פויזן! בטרגע אמרו שלא היה פויזן. We can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to have found it at the scene of the crime. Oh no! Could there be? Yes. An examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Okay. The almost, but not quite. Imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There is no point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? A glance. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right. You had evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. זה לא עכשיו שמה. וגם זה היה פתוח. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't! It is telling that the victim made a note of a low whistling sound he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend.
Train?
Indeed! You Put that serpent for this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. אבל זה לא נכון לפי הטיימליין. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared to have been dispatched, you would release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered on the ventilator and down the barrel cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would curse for the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. Literally there's contradiction shell and venom and poison. That is the true nature of the speckled bear that took the young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Death by venomous snake's bite. Bullshit. This concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of the speckled bear. יש משהו שתופס נכון, אבל יש עדיין טעויות. יש משהו שתופס נכון, אבל יש עדיין טעויות פה, שזה אינטרסטינג. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet as a killing machine. There, on the floor, you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Hello. Incredible! You solved the mystery! Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Holmes has become such a household name. עדיין יש דברים שהם obvious. הם בעצם obvious bullshit. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an option, an opinion, Mr. Holmes? But of course. What's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, you suck. Guess that's right. Snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk? Huh. Oh. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. חתול נשמע יותר הגיוני. כאילו, האמת היא משהו שאני למדתי. חתולים, כשהם צעירים, הם דווקא אוהבים חלב. כי כאילו הגוף שלהם הוא צעיר, הוא בעצם יכול לעכל את זה בקלות, אבל מתי שהוא מבוגר יותר? לא מומלץ כזה חלב, כי הגוף פשוט מפרק את זה הרבה יותר איטי. ואז יש סיכוי שבעצם זה אשכרה ייתקע בגוף. תלוי בגזע, ברור, אבל עדיין. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other cheat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears.
Okay, אז לא יהיה אפשר לשמוע את whistling.
Ah. Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling.
But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snake that danced to the sounds of the flute? זה לא אמיתי.
I think perhaps the performers played their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so they have to be practically useless. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that the snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the one in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it wouldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had part in this.
לא נחש. אבל משהו דרך הוונט.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Nahoda.
No. You don't mean...
Yes! We're gonna do this entire shit again! We need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling this was coming. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Nahoda.
Yes, right.
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What? Oh. Yeah. You've done it again.
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go? They're not. Let's just see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you would leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Course correction. Let's go. My beloved speckled snake. אני לא קורא את זה. מה שקשור ליד. She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly. Is that it?
Could
there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look very close at Miss Pavlova.
Oh! Claw scratch!
Yes!
Yes! When you recall those horrid events, the claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, that simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah!
And I think about the young man who died next door. I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inexcusable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend in which you boarded this vessel, is it not? Ah, as I suspected. Not at a glance. על הנחש, אבל לא באמת. Seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No.
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet in which claws might grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her gaze now, Hudson. That's where we'll find the answer.
Oh. Huh. Ah, look at that, at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true. But personally... סטופ לרגע. הפעמון הזה קשור בעצם לפעמון שיש אצל קזמה. Oh my god. It's true, but personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we better take a closer look at this. A little kitten!
Yes!
Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no!
The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear. But what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah!
Dorka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Dorka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. Victims' written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, This specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No! Don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this.
No, but it does. You have to answer this quandary even now, behind your back. Zaratella skin.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and held behind her back.
She just left it in her pocket. No one would ever have known.
Yes. Why is like that on Mr. Sholmes' specialty? He so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought the dog show was his specialty. Or making me believe that was a ploy, too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Oh. The Lancelot skin. Well, it is speckled, and it's a band, but... יש פה ליטרלי... זה שכאילו... זה צעצוע של חתול! אני לא יודע איך בדיוק קוראים לצעצוע הספציפי הזה, אבל זה כאילו... מקל, ואז עליו בעצם נדבק משהו שנראה ארוך כמו נחש. אבל זה לא נחש. What is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. It looks like a handle at one end.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort of common in the West, apparently.
כן, זה צעצוע של חתול. How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it.
That sounds positively adorable. Cat's toy. זה השתנה.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you are trying but failing to conceal is a cat's toy.
Precisely. And the true nature of the now infamous speckled band.
And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, can only be one answer to that. After her feline fan disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled band, the speckled cat's toy, to incite the creature to return. Ah. Okay. In summary, the night show of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a some Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Dalka. A truly troublesome feline, young Dalka is proving to be. She must be caged at once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph for your pet, Miss Pavlova? Okay. Sure.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then wrapped up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darker. She is so naughty.
Beloved kitten. עכשיו אין בכלל לוג'יק לשני. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life? And why? According to the data which have been apprised, it would appear there are no visible signs of injury. Ah! In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by terrible... Okay.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere in Kazuma-sama's body.
אבל חתולים לא יכולים לעצר רעל. That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Unobservable. Ancient poison.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes. I knew it was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed. The breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some immoral freak, you know. The jury's out. Anyway, we have a good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine there remains evidence of the crime scene.
Oh no! Could there be...
לא body. זה לא body. זה. זה חלק של הפעמות של החתול. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something. Or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found though.
Presumably Daoka didn't suddenly creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a final blow.
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes! That fall could explain it.
It's not hard to believe of Kazuma-sama though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Oh, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from this scene that could explain what happened? There. A mark on the floor. What have you seen? It says save. זה שאתה יודע ארוך. אני אגיד שזה זה.
Yes!
Mark on the floor. Yes! The examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed. Positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dry were my result. undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have cut his foot at that point and on the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, cut his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life.
No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence after the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. And all you could do to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. Without a traveling case.
I don't believe it. Because I was so immediately tripped over and now he's no more. It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But
And if this is part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes.
where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Links here to the victim's death. Wastepaper basket? What's that? A stash is a basket. A waste paper basket. Gizera tiara. Engine collection ben Cosmo Levin tiara. Ze gaan met a waste paper basket.
Yes!
לא? נו באמת, משחק. זה שמר כל הדרך לקאטס טוי?
Oh my god.
Oh my god, אתה צוחק עליי? Oh my god. לפחות אני לא צריך להתעכב פה, אני עשיתי את זה. Autopsy report.
Yes!
A mark.
Yes!
אני אעשה סייב פה. זה היה לי סייב אחר כך? אומייגאד. whatever. אולי יש משהו בבסקט?
This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all of the first class cabins have them.
But Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there yet. אני שונא אותך משחק. Oh, what's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you.
Can I have basket?
Yes!
The can I have fucking basket, I said! That's right! You had evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. ידוע גם כפח זבל. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object. It would seem one that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. Found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no!
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? הייתי אומרת לגבי לקשר את הפעמות שמופיע אצל... דרקה? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't.
I don't know. And that harsh Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes! The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell would be... no.
Yes!
זאת דרך שיש לך טול. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's color, the very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up to you with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inconspicuous fall. And the cause of that dreadful stumble? Your appetite feline friend, Dalka.
couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Thereby tripping over a cat. Deduction complete. Elementary. Perfecto. ליטרלי הפייל היחיד שהיה לי זה בגלל שאני לא חקרתי את הפאקינג פח אשפה. Are you serious? Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka. So I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you are acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it.
Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I know I was not allowed to have Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. true story זה גם נכון בשבילי. לא היינו יכולים להביא את הכלבה איתנו לסירה, אז היינו צריכים די עזרה בנוגע אליה, שיבואו לטפל, או לא זוכר בדיוק עכשיו, זה גם לא כזה מעניין. יש לזה סוג של היגיון בחיים האמיתיים, אני אגיד את זה ככה.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it was safe to try and load the kitten back again?
By dangling the end of the toy for the ventilator into the adjoining cabin.
Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes. So there was nothing else I could do.
Oh my god.
There was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then...
Bakazuma.
I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Kazuma was. From the appearance of the brown marks on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Uria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asagi was already out bounds as a result of the ship lurking when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of the unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back for the ventilator.
Your dog is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Oh, he knows something about himself at least. טוב, אז זהו, אין יותר שום תשובה בכלל להשאיר אותי בצ'יינס. אני חופשי! ייי!
When I woke this morning, I heard a young man in the cabin next to mine had died. I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. And I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? And where did it come from? Oh, Earth is a dangerous creature doing on board this ship. זה של סטרוגנוב, huh? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirozko. שנייה אחת. אוקיי. רק רציתי לברר את זה. הוא קרא לנחש שלו פאי. אוקיי. Sure, I guess. What? What?
That snake belongs to you?
אוקיי, עכשיו זה קצת הגיוני, היה לה בעצם כל מיני סימנים של... היה לה כל מיני סימנים אדומים על הגוף. הגיוני שזה היה מהנחש, He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ha! We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without close friend, without someone who understands?
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
Wow. But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you can appreciate the danger when you're putting everyone... You can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in? No venom. Pirozko does not have venom. He is harmless. Very long but very gentle. He is adorable, like Granny.
It's venomless?
Yes! Now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Aha! Like they say they milk chickens. Ridiculous! Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Piroshko eats mouses. Big, fat, round mouses. Oh. Oh, so... Is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there... Is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course! How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Huh. שומס פשוט טעה מכל כיוון שאפשר לחשוב עליו בנוגע לנחש.
It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can climb up a bell cord and it's not even venomous.
How did you do something so inept to land a starring role? It's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Piroshko has nothing to do with this incident. Clearly. That's what happened.
That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death.
Oh my god.
Miss Pavlova? I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you.
What? What are you talking about, Miss Pikotova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. אבל היא הסתירה את זה כל הזמן הזה.
It was just a series of unfortunate events. An accident. I'm not a great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naroda?
Oh! My point of a dying message of a shutdown. כי... אוקיי. אבל לפחות רוב הסיכויים זה נסגר בגלל shutdown. היא באה בעצם בגלל זה ואז... היא עשתה את העצירה הזאת שאז אחר כך לכולם יש את הכאבי ראש. למה היא עשתה tampering with the crime scene? זה באמת השאלה הטובה. To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story. I'm sure of it. Just can't quite put my finger on it. הכאב ראש שנוצר בעצם מהעצירה שנעל את כל הדתות וה-dying message. אין שום explanation לזה. ולמה היא ניסתה להסתיר את הפעמון? I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues in on this matter. Oh!
I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
A distraction?
I do hope you're not finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
No, Emmett. Ah, not again! When did he do that?
Especially as they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. You were, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail.
Oh, was I detailless?
The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not?
Can. Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom even. Matama sa gitpo.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase it down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. And about that scene in your cabin really... And how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin? Yes!
What should we ponder first?
Is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside?
Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? That man tripped over the kitten that climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Wait, let's just take a step back. Doesn't make sense that if that's really what happened, does it?
I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. This couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really?
Let us show our hands, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence.
Aniloda malasa sa kore pa pala.
Fuck it!
The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. I'll repeat. Is the victim who lost his life in the cabin that was bolted shut on the inside? Was it an unfortunate accident? Oh, was it not an accident? Oh. Well, they established that the man tripped over the kid and got the cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, it was an accident. Doesn't make sense if that's really what happened. There's a clear contradiction between the fact and Miss Pavlova's story. Evidently, his ring because his death could possibly have been an accident. A dying message! זה הלוג'יקה הכי שאני יכול לחשוב עליו, זה a dying message.
Yes!
Okay, Kadala. The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script. It's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people will leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. לא בהכרח. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very... Fuck you. Ashkara, fuck you. Go to hell. מניסיון? רוסית זה לא כזה קל. אז fuck you. Doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry, what do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. And dumb. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to several vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Oh god, I guess. Oh. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead.
That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there. If what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What? So Sato-san has noticed it too then. Putting the message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves there was no accident. In other words... A log?
Yes!
Nope. Nope. A mark? A remnant of that could possibly have been there when Miss Pavlova told us was true.
Yes!
A mark? Okay. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. But that's the glass belt the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped it and over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there is a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened... Oh! איך הקצה השני היה מגיע לפח? And how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Ah.
Yes. Remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that wastepaper basket? Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no.
Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. And when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. No shit, Sherlock! The dying message is obvious. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth. In other words, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. God.
Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Sogi's...
Oh. Oh. So, you're wasting your time. Someone else was there. Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? רינו סקאפ ולא יצא מהקאבן שלו. Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And only one other person when young student died. Was you.
Yes!
It's true, I was at the cabin when it happened.
You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details.
But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message.
Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message. To be precise about the details.
Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I've been sleeping there the entire time.
And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Sogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all of the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions.
Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. The single small lamp suspended from the ceiling will barely cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
You all suspect me, don't you?
I am Stroganoff. Seaman Stroganoff? Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in this cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. בגלל locked room mystery. הוא חושב על ככה בגלל locked room mystery, אבל זה לא נכון. היה shut down.
Well, this is almost interesting.
And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You are a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. אבל זה היה יכול לקרות מתי שהיה את השאט-דאון. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through locked doors? Niet, it's impossible. Ow! He's right.
But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie threads around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors.
Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, not with a gap in sight, no threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
רק מ-experience. זה לא קיים יותר. מה זה קיים בתור איזושהי אסתטיקה, אבל זה לא באמת יותר קיים? זה ניגש יותר לדתות יותר מודרניים.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so...
Susana-san! How could you shift it onto me like that?
So, Simon Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door could have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily.
What?
I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it.
Yes.
And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you?
A way to show the bolt of the cabin from the outside. One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo?
Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. Emergency buzzer! Look yourself! זה טכנית הגנתל. Look at the bookcase there. See how all of the books and things have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. And if small objects aren't fastened down, are bound to fall over.
Would you like to put that in your testimony?
I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia.
Inertia, whatever.
acting on the objects.
Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? האינרשיה או מה שזה אמור להיות? האינרשיה הזה? אנחנו קוראים לו תאוצה. זה ליטרלי החוק שבו פועל מתי למה בעצם שמים חגורות על אוטו? כי הרי אם מתי שעוצרים אז כאילו מתקדמים יותר מדי קדימה. אז בעצם מפה יש knockback. יש בעצם knockback אותו דבר, זה כאילו למה יש בעצם מושבים איך שהם והחגורות. זה knockback שיוצא בעצם מתאוצות. תודה רבה פיזיקה. Well, whatever it's called. The same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... literally I had to stop. הסנאגו בא בעצם... פשוט עדיין נעול. קצת אינטרסטינג בעצם שיש שאני אשכרה יש לי אופציה לעשות סקיפ לפלאשבקס ונראה שעוד סקשנס לפי דנס או דדקשנס.
Oh, yes! That's it! When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the room.
Yes. It's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed? מישהו עצר את הספינה. כן. ועצר את ה-locked room mystery. DSS Boria made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All of the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh, yes! I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then when we came to this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had been toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my!
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? אני שכחתי להשתיק, obviously. Are you out of your mind? You said Boria made emergency stop! It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm.
Oh, yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to push the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog was dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. the sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As intended, as indeed it did a little earlier today. שום זה צריך לעשה פורדי צ'סמו ועל כולם? מה זה?
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship! I report you to Captain. You're in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that now we have learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider...
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Sogi, did this ship make an emergency stop or did it not?
You are idiots! Boria is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. אבל כולם ישנו. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? כולם ישנו. Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. You have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
לכולם יש כאבי ראש, לא? זה אמור להיות האבידנס שאתה רוצה? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. Oh, a log. A log. What evidence promotes the fear that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? A log.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov. It's your duty to patrol the first class area of the ship. Isn't that right? Duh! That is correct. Why? And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine. Ah, you rather carelessly left it at the top of the little makeshift burrow, the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase "nothing to report" every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log. That is... Duh! Because nothing happened! אבל זה לא שאתה עושה דברים. But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report", wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here abroad the SS Borea. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish! Self yourself! Oh my god! If I'm perfectly honest, I find it a little hard to believe myself. Literally, כולם סובלים כאבי ראש! Oh? Why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, Mom, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. That ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man! The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Ah! Oh, yes. I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I!
My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. It's right! I'd been throbbing today, too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I don't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I'd already been dragged out of the wardrobe. In chains. I had those handcuffs on me. I had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all of that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruto. You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Kazuma looked after me. Was always happy to share his meals. So you've enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes! In fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right! He didn't touch it! Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken? Obviously, Zakusha was sleeping pills or משהו כזה. אם רוצים לדבר על זה ככה, היה איזשהו סליפינג פיל שזרקו בעצם לתוך התרנגול. זה למה קזומה גם לא ישן עד 1:30. I do. No! Really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passageways last night has been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug? רוב הסיכויים, כן. Literally כמו will powers. What do you mean? Whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Naruto, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea.
זה בדיוק מה שהוא חושב. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. Conspirator? What? Mr. Sholmes? Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. משהו קורה פה. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be halted over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone. No more. For everyone anymore.
The Scoomer are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes. So when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
שאם ככה, 100% כל זה היה מתוכנן. היא הרי תכננה לו את הספינה מפה ב-emergency stop. מפה יש בעצם emergency stop. We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame and her ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes. I remember now. I didn't notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Duh. We could not make all drug. How do you say? Dissolve. Talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was held by comrade on shore with a small fishing boat. Well, the passengers of the SS Boya slept soundly. Thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop jig to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked up in that case, and there would have been complete chaos.
Oh, I wouldn't say so.
What? Ah, of course! Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which, they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness. They would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug.
Quite. And accordingly,
All passengers were already in their cabin for the night.
yes,
The overwhelming The overwhelming majority of passengers would have habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway. And so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Explain now. You have talked long time and said many things. What is point?
the point is what I said earlier.
There was somebody else present at the scene where the victim lost his life last night. Pavlova. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide their broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But, wait, I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I'm quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naoto? Oh, yes? Do you hear it? The accusatory of cry of guilt on the wind? What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No. You must hear it with your eyes. For observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Again. Oh. So, Mr. Naruto, your assistant, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said, of these two Ma? Prevaricators of these two predicates? Observation?
If you remember, Mr. Naruto, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some sort of trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely! You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright. I'll see what I can see. So, we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Left ear? Chunky hands? What's the point?
Yes!
Ink stain! Seaman Stroganoff! Isn't that quite a large purple stain on your back of your white uniform there? Ah, yes, sire. I don't know where the dirt comes from. So, nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? זה ליטרלי אותו צבע שבו היה עם הדיו, שהיה של ה-dying message. It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. The very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
And I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruto, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Right then. The evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is. זה הכי קרוב שאני יכול להראות את זה. אני אעשה סייב, אבל זה היה הכי קרוב. עדיין מסייב. אוקיי. יופי. Yes! It's this photograph and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink. A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Ugh! Ah, the penny drops. At last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it could possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled. All right, yes, it was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in that student's cabin to make it look like wardrobe man did it. Then I pressed the button to make Booyah do an emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Beef, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty, patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white as shit.
Beef, please. You have to help me. You must help me.
Whatever. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on the floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
שאלה קטנה, לא? השם שלו זה ביף סטרוגנוב? כן, שכחתי, אומייגאד. ליטרלי השם כן היה ביף סטרוגנוב. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor? Yes, that is right.
So, after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers?
Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling to on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened door of student doors, of student's cabin and looked at.
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova?
Oh,
Franzanio there?
yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you.
So, is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last?
Ah, something nearly slipped my mind.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes?
This photograph?
Yes, I took this myself, you know.
The cause of death was a broken neck. Therefore, the victim died instantly. And that unfortunate incident that precipitated those events? A kitten, on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there's one particular area in this photograph that seems to be, to me, somewhat unnatural.
היד, שנייה. אם זה בא מהטמפרינג, שזה רוב הסיכויים, במקרה של ביף. מה עשה היד הזאתי? היד הזאתי סגורה בלי שום סיבה. כי אם הוא נפל, אז זה היה ספוילר לכל האנשים שנופלים. לרוב הם באים בידיים פתוחות בשביל לתפוס את עצמם. למה היד הזאתי סגורה? What do you mean, unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruto?
Oh, well...
Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which probably this photographic print seems unnatural.
I add.
Yes!
Alright, if you really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right.
The exact same thought occurred to me.
In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. אבל זה היה סגור, לא פתוח.
Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist.
Come on. Okay.
Almost, you might say.
As though he was gripping something. What do you mean?
Simply that I took the liberty
Of investigating the victim's fist for a short while ago. You dead?
And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Jones, show us, please!
Kara doesn't show committing evidence.
Why, of course, my dear madam. Why would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found.
Oh!
Oh, I guess I remember with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right. Of course, the moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us?
זה שסטרוגנב רצה למחוק כל ראיה שבו פבלובה הייתה בסין. כי יש לה אחד דומה באוזן השנייה ובאוזן ימין, אם אני לא טועה? אפשר לראות שזה לא קיים, אבל בשמאל זה כן קיים. It tells us nothing. אפשר לראות בשמאל יש את זה, במיוחד מתי שהיא עושה את הראש ככה, אבל בימין אין את זה.
I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks...
זה מזכיר לי את הפינה. לא גם באפינה יש כזה דבר? את ה-crescent moon?
It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before.
ה-crescent moon זה של הפינה. באופן מצחיק. לא רק שיש את זה לפבלובה, אלא יש את זה גם לאפינה.
Observation, Mr. Naruto. That is the key.
What?
The truth is tantalizingly close.
How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist?
This is the final clue. The last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eyes.
Where did it come from?
Yes!
זה בא מימין. כי לשמאל יש לה את זה.
Miss Pavlova! I noticed that on your ear.
Even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The little link holding onto it must have broken, I suppose. Ah, what? But looking at your other ear, I notice a crescent moon. Ah. I don't believe it!
Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruto?
Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Sogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, Last night, in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh, no.
Angel, no one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Cosma? אז נייט! זה מה שכזה נראה לי. נראה לי זה נייט. נראה לי זה נייט. כאילו מה שאני יודע בטוח זה את הכתב של דאו ונייט. זה הכל. זה כל מה שאני יודע ברוסית. כתב של דאו וכתב של נייט. מצטער על זה אבל הרוסית שלי חרא.
And I think about everything that happened yesterday. It was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day... Taka, wait!
רק אומר, אני יודע יותר לדבר רוסית מאשר מקרוא וכתוב רוסית, כי... כן, אני לא אגש יותר לקונטקסט שמה.
I couldn't believe when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would not come back.
Oh. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Get the Cosmo. Patty. Oh. I'm sorry. I thought he was a friend of mine.
The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka. And he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin...
Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina?
Huh? No, I don't know that name. I had nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw a performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. ואתה מבין להגיד שנגחאי, איך שומעים את זה בעברית, ולא שנגחאי. מצטער אמריקאים, אבל אני יכול להגיד חטא באופן ברור, כמו חרא וכל זה. אני יכול להגיד חטא בסדר, אפילו חמור אפשר, אני יכול להגיד בלי בעיות. או חומוס, אם לא ניגשים לדברים שיש להם קונוטציה יותר שלילית. יש לי פה חטא, אני אומר שנגחאי. אני לא אגיד שנגחאי, אני אגיד שנגחאי. אז fuck off.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth. I hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to put that code. He's going to tell the captain. Wait, I think I could trust him.
Oh! Oh! היא חשבה שזה על הקפטן, אבל לא, זה הארון של רינוסקי.
Then it happened, everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait! I shouted, and then Darko jumped out of my arms and down at the young man's feet. And as he turned around to look at me,
Oh!
I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't even know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
Wow! Selfish bitch, huh? And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and Todd on the floor, so I ran to her. He was standing at cabin door, shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Beef. If they find out, I will be... please, I have nowhere to go.
So you've decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into the cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. אבל שכח שני דברים. החצי השני של הפעמון והיד של קזומה שבו נעל בעצם את האירינג. הגיל. מכסה את החלק הצבעוני של הגיל שיש לניקולינה. And then I found stowaway. In wardrobe. Still sleeping. Right. That's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
מה אם רינוסקי לא היה שמה? I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason citizens to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged the young man's body to a good place and used ink that was spilling to write on the floor. I wrote קבינט, אם אני לא טועה. ככה זה אמור להיות. או משהו כזה, אני לא זוכר מה היה המילה. So that person who found him would look inside the wardrobe and find stowaway. And Tommy, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin, and I had noticed the other half.
Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished the job. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the Desperate did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m. Thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. It's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if you had pulled the bell cord and called the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? Oh. Shara tova.
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first? Oh! הוא חשב שהוא יקרא לאינספקטור אוסונגה? לא. ניקולינה חשבה שקזומה יקרא להוסונגה. אבל כל זה היה רק בגלל הארון שבו היה ריונוסקי. Oh my god.
He said an inspector was his friend.
Oh, yes, meaning me. Was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me.
Oh my god.
So before he could pull the bell cord,
May I stop you for a moment, please, Miss Pavlova?
It just doesn't seem to make sense.
I mean, was Mr. Asugi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know.
What?
לא, bell cord. זה לא היה bell cord. זה לא היה הפעמון שבו היה קשור שיכול להביא את הוסונגה. זה היה הארון איפה שהיה ריונוסקי.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done.
No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not done yet. It's not yet done. It seems there is one more deduction to make. Kazuma Kadara Babishirinosuke. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really going? Was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether this young man's gaze was directed? A cabin! A cabin, a wardrobe! First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. The cabin has been my home for this entire voyage.
So, this is how the cabin looked like last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama.
Yes, it's exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manners of truth. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze of where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? A secret shelo.
Take that!
Considering everything that happened last night, suddenly ma'am looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, what is directly besides the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night?
In my mind, I could use another opinion.
Another opinion.
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no! Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
היא חשבה שזה אינספקטור אוסונגה לפי הפעמון, אבל לא, זה היה ריינוסקי, כנראה. מיס פבלובה. I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done?
Oh my god! And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria was finally laid to rest. It's about time. 7:14 בערב. First class cabin passageway. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration officer to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganoff? I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. Yay! In the meantime, thank you for letting me go again. Go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste of time. But... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you'll need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes, I did stow away after all. Can't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. I think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. It seems so like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Susato! Susato-san?
Naruto-san, I didn't know you had returned.
Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Sanaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that.
I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Susato-san.
He had such grand ideas for his visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he was. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. And it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruto-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know. Oh! I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector!
My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed. And caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again, at least. Huh?
Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo?
Not again! What is the meaning of this?
Oh, dreadfully matter. Simply that in my head I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting.
Sorry?
So I decided to restore them. For all time's sake, shall we say? You are a stowaway after all.
Thinks this is funny?
Mr. Sholmes? We do appreciate your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not at all. And for a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heart-rending. I hope that you were able to fulfill some of his aspiration in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened.
What? Wait a minute! It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. Oh my god.
The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant.
Was to be?
In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
No. I didn't care about me, but...
Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know.
Kansas Holmes.
All of you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there is no one else with necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your country will be of no value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage of London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Yes.
Miss Susato?
Yes. Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? Oh, but you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but...
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But, as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach Britain's shores.
Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes! I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo.
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously just suggesting anybody could learn all that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if, by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said that it was something he had to do in Great Britain. And that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. Literally lawyer kesef. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mrs. Sato? Oh.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. So, what does our Receptacle Inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer, one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness. It's fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and roles are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's explanatory character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Well, I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next, and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruto,
Oh.
I would like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that has been in the Asogi clan for generations.
Oh. Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it. Anyways, I'll treasure it always. So then, Mrs. Sato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet.
It would be an honor, Mr. Naruto.
Okay, Phoenix Maya slash Mia slash Trucy slash Athena. Oh my god.
And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes! That's exactly what I need!
But, before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too.
Goodness. What is it?
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
What?
I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away. And the cabin door was just closed. Was locked me inside.
No, I will not let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times.
Ah, that number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just think of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it.
No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. IRL and Iloma scheme. About sure. Kiddo, I guess. Very wise, Mr. Naruto. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your farming technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did he see that? I presume there would be a form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique.
Apparently, it's called a Susato takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. I'll be calling. I'm a practitioner of the combated arts myself. I'm a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you would be so kind as to instruct you on the technique of your wrestling throw. Of your arresting throw.
Yes, I'll be honored.
Then let us not daily. Demonstrate, my dear madam.
Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruto?
Sorry. Yeah. Oh my god. Again?
As you can see, you can throw from the abdomen. You can throw from the abdomen.
Oh, yes. Interesting indeed.
And that is what you term the Susato takedown, is it? Actually, no. That was a Susato squash.
In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickering into my mind. Karuma?
That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down for generations of the Asogi clan.
Can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. Oh, again, huh? I mean, taking a katana to a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely.
Japanese man's sword is a soul, Minovsuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that.
So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling.
On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. And I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I would appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Oh, of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see you through to the end with. I'll see it through to the end with you.
And you wouldn't let me down? That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was.
But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. And... oh boy! Crash course candidate. The Adventure of the Runaway Room. זה היה אחר כך. The Adventure of the Runaway Room. זה היה אחר כך. אני אסיים את זה פה, כי אני כבר 3 שעות פה. אז כן. זה הולך להיות הסיום של הלייב של היום. כאן ירין, ניפגש בסרטון אוהב הבא שלי, גם מקווה שנהנתם. וירין, אאוט. ביי חברים, מקווה שאתם נהנים.